There's the Valdez from rolling the filter cartridge along. Thankfully, at least it's on the plywood. Welcome back. It's another day in Soft Hands Garage. We're getting real close. We are going to push the button in this one. It's going to happen. Hang in there. We're going to push the button. Let's get to it. Scooters are all running, so took the biggie because it's licensed and tagged in for my parts run. And I'll show you this in a minute. Yeah. But this was the second time I noticed. I just forgot the last time. Figured as soon as I jump off, I'm fixing this. But a little wobbly on the crash bar when you put your feet out on the highway peg. So that was a little unnerving to just kind of wobble them back and forth. Oh yeah, nice and loose. Yeah. Anyways, I'll fix that real quick before we get back to that. Okay, I was this many days old before I knew that all universal radiator hoses were not the Flexi. And in fact, you can buy a nice, smooth, straight radiator hose. It's still flexible to some degree. Cut to fit, that's a nice option for it. I don't know, why wouldn't you use that? Tell me, because maybe you know and they're junk. I guess I'll find out too, because I'm using it. I had to get it. It was not that cheap. Wasn't cheaper. I actually found, so first of all, this is what you get for when you look up radiator hose for 1960 GMC 305 V6. This is it, a Flexi hose for the upper red. The lower, not so much. Now I still plan on going in the back, because that's what they did, just come back here and look. I don't know, is what they've been doing, but going in the back and seeing, because it's just a little bend. There's not that much to it. So I'm just gonna take it back there and see if they got anything that would work. That's a molded one. So, but for now I needed something, and this was not cheap. Okay, so the Flexi one that you look up and is for my truck is $36 at O'Reilly's. It was only $20 at AutoZone, but they didn't have any. So I don't, you could charge $1 if you don't have it. It's the same thing. So I went, and O'Reilly's had this, and they're cut to fit. Now it's $30, so it wasn't exactly cheap, but I had to try it. And that's another thing about it, is those Flexis, you got to get pretty close to the length that you need, and of course the diameter. But with this stuff, you can cut it to fit. So I don't know, is it garbage? Let me know. I'm trying it anyway. All right, I need to get shorts on to get back to work. It's getting hot already. Okay, not bad. Not bad. It isn't quite as flexible as they make it sound to be. In fact, that's got a little kink in it right there. But I don't think that's going to be too bad as far as restricting flow. It was worse, but I cut it long, and you can see now my radiator standing upright straight because it pushed the top back. But I wanted to cut it long. That's undoubtedly, it's closer than this once everything's in and where it's supposed to be. But that way it gives me the opportunity to cut it a little bit more. And if it's, so my thing was, being shorter, this bend is a lot sharper the shorter you get. And if it's, hopefully the radiator's up higher a little bit more than what it is now when it's in the permanent spot, and that might help it. But when it was a little short, it was kinking really hard on here until I got it stretched out a little bit. So it'll do for now. I don't know if it is going to be the permanent thing. I'm hoping to get a molded one anyway. So, but again, it's better than the wore out flex that was in there. The bottom one's already in. I did that. Fuel line, I got 3 feet so that I have enough to put it in a gas can, and then still had this piece here that I was able to cut off of it. So we're pretty much set, fuel and cooling, I believe, at this point. All right, I tried to figure out some way to kind of mount this. I was going to use the thing and whatnot for it, but I'm just going to pull this gauge out. It's going to be a lot easier. Don't worry like I'm doing something that could screw this thing up, because it's already that way. I broke this one a long time ago. I was testing the fuel sending unit and ended up burning this trace. And I tried, obviously, to solder a piece of wire in there to make that happen. And no go. It's probably a goner. I mean, I could get another, and it could be the sending unit. But we'll find out, because I got a whole new gauge cluster. Well, it's not new, but it's different. Bought another one. And theoretically all the gauges work, but I bought that thing like, oh, I don't know, at least 8 years ago. Oh yeah, this continues to deteriorate. Let's look good on that side. But I got better ones of those, and there are actually, you can buy these, but they're pretty decent on the gauge that I bought, so the cluster. So okay, so now I need to ease off. I don't remember taking this off before. I wonder why these are finger tight. Anyway, try to take care of it, but that's going to be a little easier to deal with, I think. Okay, you think that's dumb? Wait till you see the rest of my videos. So I did want to protect it a little bit. It's a perfectly good gauge, and I don't want to destroy it just because I'm not using that cluster. Okay, I did also put it in the plastic thing before I decided where I was going to put it on here, and it's sideways, but I can read it. My pressure gauge is upside down over here, so it just kind of goes along with the theme, I guess. But this is going to be my control panel here, pretty much. I had a mess going on here. It really still is, but I just went ahead and started putting things where they go, because I was confusing myself. Some wiring I did out of convenience, and some wiring I did out of logic, and they don't mix very well. Just the simple stuff. I got yellow for the temperature gauge, but then the ground for the temperature gauge, I did this green and yellow that was part of the wiring harness. And so I went ahead and put it to ground because I was confusing. I actually tied what is the power green wire for the coil. I tied those two together and was going to put them to ground. So at least I followed things and was like, yeah, that's not right. So this is the power side. The brown is that'll go to the battery for the switch, the power side of the switch. White signal side over here for the starter. And then, yeah, this was just a single piece of green wire that I had that was nice and long and was going to work, so that's what I used. So too late. It is what it is. I'm not going back on it now. This is going to go to the power, and I'm just going to keep it tied to the brown wire in hopes that I remember that. And then I went ahead and just did the ground to the temperature gauge right to the block ground there. So hopefully that's good. Now the other side is, then I've got this black wire, the big black wire. I put the terminal end on it for the battery. It is of course, the power side, right? And that's the ground there, which up here. But the red one that I'm not using now at all, I could use it, but it's too short. I would have to suspend the battery up under there, and I'm not doing that. So that's about where the battery is going to go, as it turns out, because that's where that is. So anyways, that's the wiring. Okay, it's time for distribution of spark. So what we got to do is determine top dead center, and this is cylinder 1, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you see it's right there. By golly, I think I'm already good. I just rotated it back to 5 degrees, and that's where it's supposed to end up. So it's supposed to be top dead center and then 5 degrees. I think we've already got it. I mean, I don't see it being much closer than that. I'll take another plug out and make sure that's what it looks like, but I can see it right there, the cylinder head, so should be it. Here, take this off for now. Well, I do not find a distributor gasket in my gasket kit. So I also looked it up online to see, can you buy one? And there isn't anything like that. So, all right, I think that's where it goes, and that's as far as thinking's about all I can do. So I'm gonna see if the cap will fit and still be able to put the wire on the coil, because I showed you in the last video, or one of them, that the it's sitting very well. The wire is broken, and they just twisted another wire on it. But it actually looks like it might be. What the heck? It looks like it might be just long enough to go right directly to the coil. Why? What am I doing wrong? Okay. So that's that, and it looks like I will have enough wire. Now I won't be able to adjust timing, but probably not going to mess much with that anyway for this run. All right, we're ready for real power. I got a hot battery. Got a little sparky spark. Just gonna hook that up. Okay, we got voltage. Not as much as I thought we would have. We're only at 5.5 volts here. This may be too much resistance. Well, let's see what we got. That also, the battery's reading 11.8 or something like that. We're gonna bump the starter and see what happens. My golly, we got something. Whoops, I left my plug cables up here. We got things happening. To where I want number 1. Okay, yeah, it should be fine. All right, I like it so far, so good. All right, we're gonna check her for spark. Uh-oh, I'm not seeing anything. Nothing happening there. That's what I'm wondering, if I got too much resistance in there. Crap. Okay. So that's 5.5 to this side of the resistor. Not quite getting 12 here. I don't know what that's about. Maybe the battery's a little low, but 5.5 to the coil. I should be between 6 and 8. It could theoretically be the points are dirty. I got a soapstone here I'm going to clean it up with and see if that helps. But I have a feeling it's just too low. I do have a resistor that came with the solenoid along with a diode. I don't think I need the diode. No, I didn't go through the starter to the coil. So anyway, I can try. If this doesn't work, I'm going to clean up the point, see if that helps. If not, then maybe we can try that other resistor. Okay, let's see if that did anything. Nothing. Not a thing. All right, I've been going for a little over 12 hours now. I'm spent. I'm going to try and track down that resistor so I don't not sleep tonight thinking, where do I still have it? Is it actually there? Gonna find that and set it there. I disconnected the battery because that'll use juice all night if I don't. Plus, I'm actually going to go ahead and hook the charger up tomorrow on it just to make sure it's topped off before we start doing this again. So where I'm headed, I may go get another ballast resistor tomorrow if that resistor the kids, because it's not a ballast resistor. I'm not really sure. Can you use that? Does it get too hot, too much juice? I don't know. I'd try it anyway if it'll spark. I'll try it anyway. I don't want to run without a resistor because I don't want to just arbitrarily blow up my points for no reason, because I know it'll happen if I do run it without a resistor. But anywho, that's what we're doing. I'll be back here as soon as I hit the stop button, I'll be back as far as you know. All right, same clothes, different day. You know how it goes. I'm rolling around, getting started on some stuff, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to resolve this one without ordering parts. So I don't think it's a big deal with getting hot and not reading voltage. I think I figured that out. I was thinking about it last night. The only way that resistor gets hot like that is if there's no load. There is a load. It's the coil. So the only reason it doesn't know that there's a coil is if the ground is not right. So there's something wrong with the grounding wire, I think, is all that's going to end up being. However, that doesn't resolve the real problem, which is 5.5 volts to the coil and no sparky on the, other thing. I'm tired. And no sparky on the distributor. Words aren't coming to me. I think that's going to be because the resistance is too high on that one. So I haven't even looked it up yet to see what it was that I bought. I don't know. I Googled or did something. Maybe it wasn't the forum. I don't know. Somewhere I went. I'm actually going to go to the forum today. Look through and see if I can find anybody that replaced that wire with a ballast resistor. Anyways, I'm probably going to be stuck at that point. I need to get water, distilled water, and gas today. And if this does get resolved somehow, that's what else do I need? It should be ready to start. So hopefully I can figure it out Well, I can't, there's nothing I can do. If I get the voltage back, it's not enough, apparently. Or you got something else wrong. I don't know. You tell me. I won't watch this until after I'm done with this. But anyway, well, I'm just going to fix that wire real quick and see what happens after that. All right, I moved my ground to the battery negative, and I got my voltage back, which is less than I need. This thing's still getting very hot. Unplug on that. Yeah, that thing gets, I mean, you can't touch it. It's hot. It's gonna start a fire. What the heck could that be? Now I'm getting voltage there, so it's getting the load. It's completing the circuit. This shop is absolutely destroyed. Oh man, I cannot wait for this thing to start, because I'm gonna take a break after that and clean this place up. What I'm gonna do to troubleshoot this thing is just to make sure my issue with spark is in fact the ballast resistor, is I'm gonna just go ahead and bypass that, and then I'm just gonna run a wire, the hot wire, directly to the battery and up to the coil, and that will give me 12 volts, which you don't want to do, but you can. In fact, it's recommended that I'm gonna do this once I get this all figured out, but I'm gonna run off of the ignition switch a wire, a hot wire, to the coil directly, so that when it's engaged, it's giving it a full 12 volts to help it start. So that's recommended. So 12 volts isn't, like the immediate killer on it. You just don't want to constantly have 12 volts to your coil, because that's the coil, and the points will eventually burn up. So just for testing purposes, just to see if I can get the spark over there, I'm going to put the full 12 volts to it. Okay, we have 12 volts to the coil. We got 12 volts to the distributor. No spark. So we may have an issue with the ballast resistor, but we for sure have an issue, and I'm going to have to call it the points, because 12 volts is right there on the points, and I'm getting nothing. And I've cleaned those pretty decently, I'm pretty sure. Here's the insanity. I got my better meter out. It's missing AC because I blew a fuse on it and just never replaced it, so I've just been using the cheap ones so I could do AC if I needed it. But DC, it's fine in ohms. So I got my continuity. I don't know if you can make out the beeping. They got beeping, okay? And the point's closed, all right? Now I've got this straw, which is insulative material. It's plastic. Should not have any continuity. How do I have continuity? So I don't know. I just can't imagine the scenario where you have it open. They're not making contact. How do I have? Where, at what place do I have a connection? I don't know. So I'm going to take it apart and see what I can see. I just took them off and I cleaned them. I didn't see anything that should have been making contact. It's almost impossible, but it was happening. You saw it. So now that's happening. Yeah, in case you might think that straw had some pieces of metal in it or something to make it not insulative. We're going to try that again. Yeah, see, no beepies. So whatever it was, it had something to do with being pretty gummed up. Well, I put the ballast resistor back in because as hot as it does get, and I think it's excessive still, but they are supposed to get hot. They are running resistance through it, and I kind of justified like that is too much, too large of a resistor. The more resistance, and this is not Joule's law, so there are other factors involved, but basically, I think in this scenario, the more resistance you have there, the more heat you're going to have there. So theoretically, less resistance, so a lower ohmed resistor in there would be better. And this is pretty high up in the range of 1.8 ohms, but regardless, the coil was getting hot when I took it out, and I'd rather that got hot and even burned up if that was what was going to happen than the coil. The problem, of course, then is that so this is now opening, and so that's cool. So I'm getting no voltage on this side with the straw in there, and with the straw out of there, I am reading from the positive side, of course, of the coil to here, or the front side of that is full 5.5 volts that I was getting on the other side of that ballast resistor. So now it's still not sparking, by the way. There's still no sparky. So now I'm back to is it too low? I don't know. Well, should still get something, even a weak spark out of 5.5 volts, shouldn't you? Shouldn't you see something? I see nothing. But this is, I mean, I measured all the things to measure. How could I possibly, it's a 12-volt battery, for crying out loud. How much flipping amperage could be going? I don't know. Anyway, I should have something here, and I got nothing at this point. I don't know. All I can take is to buy lower ohm ballast resistor and see if I can get it up to the 6 to 8 volts. Cheese and rice. All right, by now there's a bunch of you probably yelling at your YouTubes. Hey, guess what? We got spark. So I had kept that on. I had a constant ground to the coil. I had done that for testing stuff earlier and just thought, I never thought. That's why I kept getting continuity, and it maintained continuity. And when I put it back in, and after cleaning it and everything, and I put that back on, and I got continuity with it open again, I was like, wait, whoa. I got to take that stinking ground off. This is the ground. This replaces the ground. That's how you get sparkies. Oh my gosh. Look, I didn't say I was smart. What I said was I'm desperate for somebody to help me. Okay, I'm going to put the rotor back on now. And I'll put the cap on just so that it's ready, and I'll start working on putting the plug wires and the coil wire on. Fill it with water, put the fuel line into the gas can, and she's ready to fire off. I don't think I need to do anything crazy with two-stroke oil or anything like that. I'm just gonna pour a little down the I'll have a little bit in a cap or something so I can prime it, but anyways, not today. It's after 5 o'clock. I'm spent already. That's going to be a in the morning thing, so don't go anywhere. We're firing it up next. The next time the video comes on, it's going to be cranking this thing up. So be right back.